Hello and welcome to the Bulldog Blitz. I'm Becca Bornhorst. Today I'm joined in the studio with two track and field athletes, juniors Kirsty Legg and Craig Jordan. How are you guys doing today?
Good.
Thank you for joining me. I just want to first talk about this home meet we're having tomorrow here, first one since 1998. Can you guys just talk a little bit about how exciting it is to finally host a meet here on Butler's campus?
I think it's really exciting. Like, we get to race as a full team, and we can all watch each other's races too, because we're all right there. And people that don't usually get to come and see us race, can come see us race. Like professors, I know I've got professors coming to watch, so that's kind of cool.
That's great. What about you, Craig?
Well, yeah, our coach said it was the first home meet in the last 14 years. And, yeah, like she said, a bunch of our friends get to come and watch. And it's going to be nice. I'll get to just stay in bed all day until right before my meet starts. And then come here, warm up, and get ready to go.
Yeah, that'll be nice. And also, it's where you're used to practicing.
Yeah.
So does that make a difference for you, just being familiar with the track itself?
Yeah, I think it'll make a big difference. It's just what we're used to. We just go do our thing, and I think it'll be a lot less pressure.
That's great. And you're bringing in IPFW and IUPUI, so some in-state rivalry there. How do you guys think you'll do against them, both of those teams?
I personally think we'll do pretty well.
Yeah, we're a pretty strong team right now, especially on the women's side in the 1500. So that should be pretty good tomorrow.
That's great. And since you're bringing up the 1500, we'll go into your specific events, Kirsty. The Horizon League Championships are coming up. Last year, you got first place in the 1500 and 800. Talk about being a middle distance runner, what you have to do, how you train for middle distance races.
I actually kind of train for the 5K the majority of the year and run the 1500 from strength, which is different to most people, but that's what works best for me. So.
Can you explain that a little bit more? Like, what do you mean? So you're training with more distance and then...
Yeah, my mileage is really high the majority of the year, and then we just put speed work on the end of that, which has worked amazing the past 2 years.
During the meet, how much time do you have between those two races?
It's around about 60 minutes, so it's not too long. The 800 is usually second, and that's kind of hard.
Yeah, I would assume so.
Yeah.
And then Craig, you are Mr. Steeplechase here at Butler, and a lot of people I've talked to around campus don't know what steeplechase is. So could you just explain what that race entails?
Well, it's about 7.5 laps, and I think it's like every 80 meters you have a barrier which you have to jump over, and then so there's 4 barriers per lap with 1 barrier having a water pit, so there's 5 things total you have to jump. And I guess the water pit, they say it's like 10 feet long, so the further you jump out, the less you get in the water, but you have to jump off that and then jump into the water. But when you're running with a group, it's pretty hard because everybody's trying to get on at the same time, and then, so some people usually fall into it. Like the first time I ever did the steeplechase, I hadn't practiced it before I went into it, and as soon as my whole team was at Miami, if you remember it, but my whole team, all my teammates were on the side where the water pit was, and as soon as I jumped on the water pit, I was like more anxious about getting over it than I was like jumping on top of it to avoid the water, that I missed the whole barrier itself, and I just landed right in the water in front of everybody.
Man. Oh gosh.
But yeah, the barriers, like you said earlier, they don't move. They're instead of being like hurdles where they'll tip over when you hit them, they don't. They're like still, and they're really heavy.
So coming into college, were you planning on running the steeplechase? Was this something you wanted to do, or how were you recruited to run the steeplechase? Was that something that you originally planned on doing, or was this kind of something that just happened, or your coaches realized you were a natural at it?
Well, coming into college, I had only seen the steeplechase done once, and like it looked really painful, and I told myself I'm never gonna do that because it seems really dangerous too. If you happen to misjump and hit it, but with my freshman year, my brother actually started doing the steeplechase, and he started doing it really well. And then I had this mindset that anything he could do, I could do better, and so I picked it up. And I wasn't as good as he was, and I'm still not as good as he is. But as soon as I started doing it, my coaches saw that I actually wanted to do it. We didn't have anybody else doing it, so they just let me continue it, and then I've gotten a lot better at it. So
Well, you say you're not very good, but I'm pretty sure you're good because last year you won
Yeah.
first place in the Horizon League Championship, so that's pretty impressive. So the Horizon League Championships are coming up next weekend for both of you guys. So what are your personal goals and your team goals for both the women's and men's side? We'll start with you, Kirsty.
I would really like to win the 1500 and the 800. If I could do that, this would be the third year in a row. So that's what I really want to do, but there's a lot more competition in the 800 this year. So that's going to be kind of tough, but that's what I would really like to do.
That's great. And what about as a team, what are your goals on the women's side for the Horizon League Championships?
I'm not 100% sure where we want to place because we've got a few people redshirting and injured. So, but in the 1500, I know that we want to try and go like 1 through 4, that would be awesome for us, and hopefully get some regional marks out of that for some of the girls.
That'd be great. And what about for you, and then also on the men's side?
Well, I'm hoping to win the steeplechase again, and I'm probably just going to run with my teammates, Cody Mullen and Kevin Albinger, to go 1, 2, 3. And then the 1500, I'm hoping that during indoors we swept it with 1, 2, 3, and 4. So I'm hoping we could just continue that. And as for the men, I think we're just looking to do what we did indoors, but we're actually missing 2 of our good guys, James Martin and Callum Hawkins. They're both redshirting this outdoor season, so we're just hoping to all have a good showing.
That's great. And you both are only juniors, so you'll be back again next year. So also cross-country runners. So I just want to talk a little bit about the transition you have to make from running track to cross-country. Now, you already said you train, for the 5K all the time, so you're used to running distance, but still there's got to be a difference between the two teams. So just talk a little bit about that transition.
There is a lot of difference between the teams because there's less people on the cross-country team, and there's 7 that count, so that 7 are usually pretty close, which is really nice. We all kind of run for each other, which is good. And like I said before, my mileage is always pretty high, so that helps me with cross-country too, because that's like 5 or 6K, so that's good.
That's great. And then I just want to talk a little bit about the difference between, high school and college, and then Kirsty, for you coming from England, just how did you even decide on Butler, and just how has your track experience been since you've gotten here, and what are the differences?
It's really different to home. At home we don't have any scholarships, we don't have a college system like this, we don't play sports in college, or in high school there's no varsity team or anything like that. It's kind of just club sports. You would do it like 6 p.m. on a night if you want to do it, and that's kind of it. So it's very different coming to college and being surrounded by a whole team. And I got recruited by Butler. I only got recruited by Butler. I didn't get recruited by anybody else, so I was kind of lucky because I ran fast. Like I ran fast late in the season, and Darren Gosson, the assistant coach, he noticed that I was running well and called me up, and here I am.
That's awesome. And then I know you've been here for a few years, but how did the recruiting, I know you're from Indiana, but did you always know you wanted to come to Butler, or was it just kind of a last minute decision?
Yeah, I actually wasn't thinking about running in college for most of till track season of senior year. But one of my former coaches, Stephen Bain, he's the one who told me about Butler, and he told me it was a good place. And then I saw that they had good athletes. There was Chris Gosson here, Joe Mack, Steve Lisco, and there were a couple others. And I felt that if I was to come here, that I have a nice group of guys to train with. And so that's what influenced my decision to come here. And then my mom only lives 6 miles away, so it's a 10-minute drive to go see her and my brother and sister.
That's great. That's really neat. Well, it was great having both of you in the studio today, and good luck this weekend at home.
Thank you.
Hopefully you'll have a big crowd, and good luck in the championships next weekend. And thank you for watching. Stay tuned for segment 2 of the Bulldog Blitz, when Matt Schumacher interviews Beth Getz and Bill Lynch about important issues in collegiate athletics. Thanks.